Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another A1 Trading live show here in the markets. I'm one of your hosts, Trader Nick. What's up? Welcome back to the show. Jason says you need a vacation, man. Jason, I am on vacation every day. I love this stuff. This is my vacation. I enjoy it every single day. This does not work for me. This is just pure passion. I don't do it for money anymore. I don't do it well, I do it for money, but I do it for other reasons as well. I enjoy what I do every single day. I'm happy to be here. And although I do get exhausted, it's kind of like, if you love baseball and you play baseball and you get exhausted, you still want to play baseball, right? You still love the sport. Anyways, that is what this stuff all feels like for me today as we get going. Markets are kicking it off with some volatility here. Couple things on the radar. First of all, I'm in a losing trade. Let's talk about a losing trade here. I try not to shy away from my losing trades, even though they're not as easy to talk about. Let's be completely honest. As an influencer, as you can probably imagine, you put out a losing trade out there, whoo, man, the haters gonna love this, right? Anyways, the S&P, not going so well for me, but I'm still a believer. I'm still a bull. And I want to show you this chart here. So pullback occurred last week, big pullback. Well, I shouldn't say big, a reasonable sized pullback occurred last week on the S&P 500. I picked it up long. I was a bit early to my entry. So you can see my entry right around here. I figured we had found a bottom, right? Price started rallying. I picked it up, put my stop loss below this structure low. And clearly, with hindsight in my favor, this trade didn't look too hot. Now, Nick loses trades. I certainly do, Jason. I lose trades sometimes. It's facts. Jason, I hope you're doing well, man. Jason came to our in-person event. Very nice guy. And hope life is treating you well, man. Still long S&P, like I said. So stop loss for me is underneath the lows. If we break lows today, I'll probably be taken out. If we're able to rally, I'll hold on to it. Markets just open. So let's drop down to just for a second, the 1 minute chart here, just to see what opening markets look like. S&P, like I said, my entry is still a ways away, but I'm long and stop loss below the lows. If this thing erases these gains, if we start trading back down today, I know where I stand. I know where I need to stop out. And that's my game plan. Stop out below here. Orange line represents where I think price has a chance to go to if we go bullish, right? I think we make a squeeze back higher up to 443.14. Now, I should also talk about my, let's talk about my silver positions. Sold 2 puts on silver. One is in profit. The other is in the red. So I've got a silver bullish play. This is SLV. It's a silver ETF. I'm long silver. Well, not long. I'm shorting puts on silver, essentially selling puts, which is essentially a bullish call for silver. So I'm bullish on silver. Not going too hot, right? We saw a big downside slide on the metals market last week. So here is XAUUSD. So the silver market came down pretty hard. You had the gold market do the same. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, even though I have a bullish play going on SLV or silver, we need to take a close look, and we'll take a look at the smart money tracker in just a moment. We'll probably bring Frank in for the COT data here today, and we'll talk about that. But I'm going to be honest with you, price action looks so nasty for gold, right? We rejected this 1965 level, and last week we broke clean underneath the 1932. Price retraced up in here, saw a rejection, price moved up here, and we're seeing rejection yet again as the markets get started here today. Metals market looks really weak, and I'm going to give you my take on it. From a fundamental perspective, longer term, I'm still bullish. As in, I think at some point central banks start to back down off the tightening cycle, so on and so forth. But in the short term, central banks are tightening and things look really hawkish for a lot of central banks, right? The Bank of England raised rates by more than expected. The Bank of Canada raised rates recently. We saw RBA. A lot of central banks still very hawkish. ECB still relatively hawkish. I think all those things, all those pressures continue to put pressure on the gold market in the short term. I don't have a short trade open, but I think price action wise, this market looks sell heavy until we are able to prove otherwise. Someone commented on one of my videos over the weekend. They said, Nick, you sounded pretty foolish because you were pretty bullish on gold. And the truth is, I do look foolish, right? The market makes you look foolish sometimes. I was long biased on gold and I still am longer term. But until that picture forms, what would really be foolish is to just bang my head against a wall saying it's going to go up, it's going to go up, when I don't see anything right now telling me that it's going to go up, right? Right now, market's bearish. Price action broke underneath, retested. And I think the wisest thing we can do in trading is admit when we're wrong in the short term and play the patient game. Okay, so right now, gold looks bearish to me. I think we have room to retest the lows until we start to see breaks higher. Like I said, I'm not necessarily shorting gold. I have some things that I'm looking at on the indices right now, and of course, we've got the EDGEFINDER pulled up. Gold is still technically a very light buy at a +3 score. COT still has bulls. The institutional money is still long. Retail is mixed. Seasonal trends still suggest higher prices here in June, but July is on its way. The trend is to the downside, which is holding back the score. GDP, inflation, unemployment, these three things favor bullishness, and interest rate divergence. Why is that getting a 0? Let's pull up gold here for a second. We'll go to gold's specific chart window here on the software. And by the way, guys, if you guys would like free trials of the software, let's drop a link real quick in the chat. If you guys want free trials, we're going to drop a link to a chat where you can actually ask our team for a trial of our software. If you guys do not already have access to the EDGEFINDER and you would like to check it out for yourself, we've got trials going on today. We're going to be handing out some while we're on the live stream. All you have to do to get a trial of our software is message us right here. So chat with my team, click this link. It's going to open up a chat icon where you can request a trial of the software that we use on the stream, and stick around. We're going to be showing you some cool ways to use it here today as we go through the COT reports, which is kind of a weekly thing. We'll bring in Frank in just a moment for that. All right. So gold is holding back on the interest rate side of things. So interest rates neutral. We might have to think about this, because is a pause bullish or bearish for gold? I think a neutral reading is almost fair because of the fact that they're still kind of debating whether or not we're going to go 1 or 2 more rate hikes this year. One thing I was dead wrong about earlier this year was I thought there might be a chance that we see rate cuts towards the end. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. And maybe now that I think that that's not going to happen, we do see it happen, right? The market's been playing with me a little bit recently, but I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Right now, again, all we can do is trade what's in front of us. Indicators here overall in the economic numbers look bullish for gold. So I'm still bullish, but the price action just does not look to be that way. And in just a moment, we'll take a look at smart money for gold as well. In fact, let's do that after this quick break. We're going to hear from a sponsor and how you can get access, by the way. So many of you guys are familiar with like Verizon and AT&T, or like these big phone providers. They've partnered up with like Apple, Samsung, where if you switch to their provider, you get their like a cell phone for free, right? They'll like buy you a cell phone if you switch to their provider for like a certain, like a 1-year contract or something like that. We have something pretty cool too with a Forex brokerage for people outside of the US. Listen up. This is really cool. You can get access to our software 100% for free, something that we've spent over a year and several hundreds of thousands of dollars being transparent, building this tool. You can get it for free today. And it's very simple. Just listen up to this quick break, and then we're going to come back with Frank and talk COT data.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now, back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, and we are back with the man himself. What's up, Frank?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to have you back on the show. Frank and I got wings on Friday. Frank, rate the wings 0 to 10. How are the wings?
Oh, I mean, $3 wings are always up there. Probably 8 or 9.
All right, that's higher than I would give it. I mean, I still like them. Don't get me wrong, but 8 or 9, that's very generous. You're a generous guy, Frank. Frank, we've
Just
got
very high quality.
yeah, yeah, about as high quality as you can get from a place called $3 Cafe. That's where we went. Got some wings on Friday, and now we are back in the markets. Frank, we do this every Monday. It's a cool segment that I think a lot of people look forward to. Is the COT data? Walk us through. Are you seeing anything interesting? Anything pop up on your radar here when we look at the COT data?
Yeah, so last night I checked it, and what I found was the only really clear bias I could find was on the pound side. So
Okay.
huge shift in sentiment here. The amount of longs increased. Let me hover over it with the mouse. That's 25,000 is the number of longs changed in the course of last week versus the number of short changes. So what they're doing is they're heavily increasing their long position sizes while decreasing a big chunk of their shorts. So the sentiment was mixed like a few weeks ago. Now we're seeing more of a lean towards the pound, which is pretty promising. Other than that, I was looking at the Kiwi, which kind of, I guess, is mixed sentiment, but what you can see is both a decrease in longs and shorts from the previous week. So 44 to 55%, like that's still kind of mixed, but overall it looks like the bias is still kind of leaning towards the downside. Maybe even a decrease in volume on the Kiwi. So not a lot of activity there. They're not very bullish or bearish, as you could call it. But what really caught my eye was this sort of currency pair bias chart, which what it does is it measures the net longs of both currencies. So what we see here is kind of minimal activity, still a slight lean towards the pound against the Kiwi. And then last week we saw a huge jump. So we can also look up here to look at the amount of longs versus the shorts. So pound is up, pretty steep rise from week to week, while looks like the Kiwi's kind of peaking and falling from there. So I took a trade on pound Kiwi this morning. Got in around I don't actually remember, but I got in about an hour ago or less. So slightly hovering in profit, but hoping to see a test at resistance up here at this triple top, and then hopefully a break from there. But we'll see if price can hold this sort of trend line.
Yeah, and that was a good point about the pound, Frank. I mean, so what you guys just heard from Frank, essentially, we pay attention to week changes very closely on these shows. And every Monday we go through and because we get the COT data, we get them on Friday, right? So Friday the data comes out right at the end of the week when the markets are closing up. So the first thing we do on Monday is we take a look, we unpack what we just saw, and what Frank just pointed out. He made the point that essentially pound had a increase in the number of long contracts. These are contracts, by the way, off the futures market. We get this data from the CFTC They have the commitment of traders data. This is tracking the futures market. So these are contracts, but it's still applicable to everyday Forex traders, everyday futures traders, whether you trade indices, doesn't matter. All of these things are kind of representing the same thing. So we saw, as Frank pointed out, a major shift in the pound. And Frank, this is crazy because, right around, I would say 3 or 4 months ago, the pound was like completely opposite. Like it was really short heavy. And now we see the pound being very long heavy. But it all makes sense, especially with the inflation stuff that we saw last week. We saw the Bank of England raise rates by more than expected, a huge jump in positive expectancy for the pound, especially against other currencies. You picked out NZD. I love that idea because, again, New Zealand, one of the more dovish central banks. In fact, I'll let you explain that. Why'd you pick NZD to short while you go long GBP? Was there a specific reason behind that?
Right. So the UK is battling some pretty stubborn inflation. Their CPI hasn't moved on a month-to-month basis. So they surprised with a 50 basis point hike, which is pretty hawkish, but it's not just ending there. What they talk about going forward is to remain aggressive over time. So what the BOE is likely to do is keep rates high and wait till even next year before they even think about cutting. And you got it pulled up right now.
Yep.
This is the short-term interest rates staying as high as they are. Meanwhile, the RBNZ is already at their highest point, according to them, and they're not looking to go much further from there. So the short-term interest rates probably rise a little more, but their funds rate is likely to stay at 5.5. I believe that's where it's at. So looking forward, pound looks more hawkish than the RBNZ's Kiwi. So I'm looking at COT and then interest rate projections over time. And you can see on the hawkish, dovish scanner, NZD's all the way at the left, which is the extreme dovish signal, whereas pound is a lot less dovish. So looking at just biases and price action overall just looked like a decent setup for me.
No, I really like this, Frank. I mean, what we've done here, this is hopefully for everybody in the audience, this is showing when Frank and I show you guys stuff on the Edge Finder. Obviously, we're a software company. We would like to make sales of our software. But what Frank just illustrated is exactly an example of real traders. Frank and I really do this stuff using this data in actuality to build data-backed trading setups. Because again, we talk about this often and there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of traders, they simply look at charts. And while charts can certainly be a powerful resource to traders, right? Looking for higher lows, looking for trends, this chart looks healthy in that regard. We have higher lows coming into this market. But what Frank did is he layered on top of that the fundamentals very well. So technicals look pretty straightforward, right? You have bounces off this area. Support should hold here. If it doesn't, perhaps Frank may look to exit the trade and try and control his losses there. But on the fundamental side, what Frank just showed us is that COT shows massive buying on the pound this past week. We saw a decrease in the number of shorts and a big increase in the number of longs. That's a super bullish week in terms of readings for the pound. Frank is expecting it to continue off that. But then on top of that, we also saw the central bank tracker, the CBT. That should be a new acronym for us. The CBT, the central bank tracker, central bank forecast, CBF perhaps. Showing us the divergences in these two central banks. And that's a really key piece of information that, Frank and I pay attention to. We look at these central banks. If you're not paying attention to central banks and this stuff, I think you're missing out on probably the most important fundamental thing that there is. What the central banks are going to do is going to heavily impact the trade. So love the trade idea, Frank. Very, very well explained. I'll let you go. Thank you for coming on the show as always. With some analysis for us and going through the COT data, especially that pound stuff. Very, very interesting. And we'll see you back on the next show.
Thank you.
All right. Joseph Hernandez says, I've been watching Nick for years, and I got to say his mouse control is out of this world. I thank you for that. That honestly, when I'm filling out my resume, the thing I put at the very top is mouse control, because it's a rare skill and you only get it by spending way too much time in live streams and multitasking. And I'm not the best multitasker naturally, but you learn a few things when you when you stream every day. Appreciate it, Joseph. Anyways, guys, let's keep going. I want to talk some more setups. We might be getting Ivan coming on the show. I see him in the chat. What's up, Ivan? I see you snooping around in the chat. Are you coming on today? I haven't heard otherwise, so I'm hoping you are. Let's go back to S&P 500, guys. I'm still long, and I'm barely breathing on this one. Actually, look at this. We're coming back. Some breath has been breathed into my trade. That was terrible English. Breathed into? Breathed into? I don't know. I'm not an English teacher. Okay. I've still got my long trade open. This has come back a lot here this morning. Will I stay in the trade? Would be nice. I picked it up last week. S&P shared this trade alert inside of the chat. Let's see where we're at with that. Again, I'll show you guys the initial trade and the reasoning behind the trade. If you guys aren't already in the Discord, let me also remind you that we do have two things for you today. Let's do something. So first of all, let me show you just around the Discord for a moment. We might be having, Chandler said in 8 minutes. Okay. Ivan, if you want to come on just a minute early, you're more than welcome to. I've been streaming for like an hour and a half. So actually, no, just an hour, but you're welcome to come on a bit early if you'd like to. A couple things here. First of all, within the Discord, we share all of our trades. So I have my swing trades here, my position trades, and my options trades, which I've been increasingly active in. If you guys don't trade options, that's fine. You might maybe learn something in there, but many of us trade, of course, sort of the same thing. We trade indices, we trade currencies, we trade oil, we trade all sorts of things. We trade a lot of different things. We also just had Frank leave the show. Frank shares his own trades. I think he's updating his pound New Zealand trade, which is starting off very good. He also shares his stock trades. We share a ton of trade alerts, and we share with our trade alerts. It's not just a signal service where you just copy and, that sort of thing. It's not what we're about. However, we do share our trades in detail with explanations and breakouts so that you actually learn something and you can see the logic behind every trade that's being placed. So you're not just guessing as to why the trade was taken, so on and so forth. That's my biggest pet peeve with signal services. They promise the world, they make you think you're going to get rich quick, and then they don't even explain anything that they're doing. They just randomly drop like a buy this or sell that. That's not what we're about. We share in-depth alerts as to why we are taking trades. And the reason I'm going in so much detail here about this is that we are ending this week. This is the absolute last week to get 55% off of our Discord trade alerts group. You can get any membership 55% off. What's up, Jason? Thank you. Appreciate that, man. The Discord is worth it. I'd buy it if I were you. I appreciate it, Jason. And everybody who is a member, we do genuinely appreciate the VIP memberships, make these streams possible financially. That is how we're able to support all this stuff. And it is genuinely a useful service, I think, for aspiring traders. On top of the trade alerts, Ivan, who's going to be joining us in a moment, does coaching webinars throughout the week. Twice a week, he hops on here and he does coaching where he answers people's questions psychologically. He helps people out with their trading. They talk strategies. He's an excellent individual for that. We'll have him on in just a moment. He also does one-on-one coaching. I've referred several people to Ivan for one-on-one coaching if that's something that you need. Again, if you are serious about this stuff, take advantage of our 55% off sale. Now, it's a 50% off sale, but you get an extra 5% if right now, while you're on, you message my team with this link. Click this link. It's going to take you to our live chat support center where our team is standing by. So I have real people. This is not a robot. When you click this link, it'll take you to a live chat where you can connect with someone from my team. If you want coaching, if you want access to our educational material, if you'd like to trial out the Discord, someone might be able to work that out for you. Just come on here, put your name, email, click 50% off VIP signals. And if you message while we are live right now, you'll get 55% off, get an extra 5% off of any of the memberships, monthly, yearly, or gold. Now, we're going to get back to some charts. We're going to talk some analysis. Let's see if we can stay in this S&P trade And let's bring him in. We'll say hello to Ivan. What's up, Ivan FX? How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
How was your weekend? And we got the fist bump in the screen for you, the Ivan fist bump. Show us that fist bump so everybody knows the reference. There it is, the Ivan fist bump. It's iconic around here. How was your weekend, man?
Could have been better. I don't know why, bro, but going from like 19 degrees to 43 degrees just spiraled me into a lot of fever and nastiness. So first day back on the job.
Well, we welcome you back, and we're happy to have you back. I know you got stuck in what country was it?
Qatar.
Yep. And then on your way
Qatar.
to yep. So good to have you back on. We're happy that you're here. And what are you looking at today, Ivan? Did you have you been entering any trades, looking at any trades?
I just want to arrest you. That's all.
Okay.
It's like, go here, arrest you. It's more like 3 times a week now, VIP, because I am trying to build people up. So we're going from start to finish. So we are looking at trade setups right now. We are looking, and I told people to go through reversal trades. Yeah, so that's that. But yen pairs, weakness. And then I saw this morning that Bank of Japan is like, well, if this falls too much, we might intervene again. But yen weakness anytime of the day.
Okay, so you've got a chart pulled up. You got euro yen. Let's see what you got on euro yen. What are you? Where are you looking at?
Well, apparently I wanted it to go a bit lower. But if not, I'm just going to do a scalp from here and then continue it. But I wanted to come back down to 155 or anything that would constitute a bit bigger pullback, and then just going to continue buying aggressively until it makes a new lower low.
Okay, I like that.
So I'm like looking that close.
Looking for breakouts on that. I like that. What about pound yen? Do you have any thoughts on pound yen?
Well, yeah, it didn't come back down to 181, which is ridiculously high price on the British against the Japanese yen. I remember this to be 150, but anywho, the pullback is so far not deep enough for me. So waiting.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, this one has been on a massive run, and it makes sense. I mean, fundamentally, you've got, the UK compared to Japan, right? Just very differences in central banks. Andy Boy became a member. Thank you, Andy, for becoming a channel member. We appreciate that. Showing some support. Yep, I'll give you a fist bump as well. We get the Ivan fist bump as well as my own. So new member in the chat. Very cool. On the A1 Trading YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking at the pound, and we talked about this earlier just before you were stepping on, I think you heard us talking about it. Frank pointed out that, COT data showed us in the most recent report a big move into the pound. Both on the long side increasing in contracts opened, as well as the short side showing a decrease in shorts. So the pound has a lot of interest right now from institutional money. If you were to pick any other pairs, do you like pound New Zealand? Do you like pound dollar? Any other pound pairs that you're watching?
Also, you would kind of imagine that euro pound would take a dive, but I hate that one. So I'm just gonna be conservative, sticking to my lane, sticking to what I know. British pound against the yen, maybe against the dollar, but dollars has some strength in it. So I don't know. It's kind of like ambivalent, is because is this a market I want to be in? Yeah, this is not a market I want to be in. This is if you make it above 128, fine, but this is the market I want to be in. And this is kind of a market I don't want to be in. So yes, I can go and look at it, but very, very quickly just fall behind and say it's not interesting at all. But what I would look at is the reason why the Australian dollar, US dollar, or the Australian in particular, has fallen so much lately. Do you know why, or what the reasons can be?
So not really. Give me some insight here. I mean, I was looking at gold. Gold on Aussie, the commodity world took a real big hit off of all the central bank stuff. But that doesn't play into Aussie, does it? I mean, not too strongly, not this much.
No, it's actually fears over China not performing well, which peaked, which is the 16th of June. It can also just be a seasonality or inconsistency, just a pullback, people taking profit. So that's kind of the news story behind it. And the reason why is when you look at Australia, we have talked about this before, I'm going to say it again, don't look at things in closely as to only Australia or what is happening there. Okay, we'll look at Australia only. You have to see the factors that is coming down on the Australian dollar, and China is very important there. And to be honest, people have decreased their expectations for rate hikes now. They're expecting a current peak at 435. So it was 436. So things is coming a bit down.
Yeah, and I guess to my concept about the commodities world, the commodities world also sort of reacting to China demand, right? Especially one thing that I found very interesting, and I'll show you guys this chart. I pointed this out last week. If you watch the metals market closely, which I do personally, silver dramatically underperformed gold last week. And to Ivan's point about China slowdown stuff, this makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense if you took a look at like the prices of copper as well. These silver, copper, these are known more as your sort of industrial metals, meaning that in the production of airplanes, computers, iPhones, all that stuff, solar panels, tons of silver, copper, things like that are required. And so last week, off the China stuff, we saw a dramatic sell-off in silver. In fact, silver underperformed gold pretty substantially last week. We can see that by even taking a look at, for example, the gold to silver ratio. You could see that gold dramatically outperformed silver last week. So something to point out there. And again, more of a reaction to China slowdown, as of course we all know that, you go to the store and everything's made in China. They're a massive manufacturing and export-based country. So if they see, if economic stuff looks like it's slowing there, the demand for precious metals that are so required in manufacturing, can take a big hit. So we saw the gold market as well. A lot of traders in the audience, of course, love their gold. Ivan, all the central bank stuff. We had S&B, Bank of England, Bank of Canada, hawkish commentary from the Fed. Where do you think gold stands? Do you think gold, I kind of have shifted to be more short-term bearish on gold recently, which is, like sacrilegious for me recently. I've been very bullish, but, short-term, I'm very hesitant to be long biased on gold. What do you think on gold, silver, any metals markets?
Do you know what this means?
What's that mean?
That's my new way of saying you're changing your buys faster than I can change a t-shirt.
I've been pretty consistent with gold. I've been very bullish gold for the last few months, and longer term I still am, but short term, all the central bank stuff I think is just too much pressure on the metal for now.
Okay. So my two comments is that number one, a lot of people was asking me yesterday and over the weekend, like, oh, gold is gonna break higher, or what's gonna happen to gold with all this Wagner Group situation? And I said limited, and we saw a bounce of 5 ounces, which is, I would say, very limited. So we have so take note. Okay, what was that's not the bounce though, but okay. Take note of what happened, what is the economic impact, and how did the market react to it. So it is Russia, a big player. We don't have much oil coming from them anymore, so there is less impact on the global scale. But if there was a change in power in Russia, totally different situation. And if they were trying to attack Moscow right now, totally different situation. but it de-escalated itself before the market is even open. So when you take this is technically or objectively just a risk event. The market's going to react the same way every single time when it comes to risk events. So when you felt like, oh, the world is going to crash, which I felt on Saturday at least, take a step back and think who, where, what, how, and think rationally, and then the market gave the answer. It wasn't much of a deal. So where do I think gold is going to go? I think gold, well, I know people have sold it, so I guess it can go lower, but it doesn't really matter because it's overall bearish. But it doesn't really matter what your reasoning is, as long as at a bare minimum you stick to it. I think that's what I've learned at least a couple of past 2 weeks. But people are really struggling with is changing their bias faster than I can change the t-shirt, and buying dollar there, selling dollar there, and I'm wondering where's your toughness in and belief in yourself. So
Right. Well, and that's the thing, especially if you're going to be fundamentalists like, yourself and me, when we talk about fundamentals, they slowly change. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of times, Ivan, that you and I have really convincingly been changed on our dollar positioning. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're both sort of dollar bearish this year. Last year we were incredibly dollar bullish, and the scenarios have changed. I mean, last year we are now seeing signs of a signaling Fed that we're closer to the end than we are than the beginning. So there, in terms of rate hikes, right? So expectations are we're going to start coming back the other direction. And so being forward looking, we've been pretty dollar bearish. I've also been off the back of that very bullish on indices. With that, it's, overall I've been pretty right about that. I've got a trade on that's not going so hot, but I still like the idea of being long biased on indices. I am, like I said, overall bullish on gold. I think that central bank stuff is short term, and I think that eventually we continue to see the directional trend be softening as the global economy slows a bit. So I'm still gold bullish on the longer term, but as you mentioned, from a technical perspective, the chart of gold just looks really rough. So for me, in the short term, technically and fundamentally, I'm just conflicted, right? So technicals still look very bearish. Fundamentals for me look bullish on the longer term horizon. Short term, I just think we have some stuff that's putting a lot of pressure on the markets. So, but I totally agree with you when it comes to trading. It's very easy to kind of get caught up in every single, we have this 24-hour news cycle. You mentioned Russia, Ukraine, or the potential power takeover in Russia. There's a news cycle that's constantly going on, and if you let yourself become too whimsical with it, it can be dangerous. I mean, like I said, for us in terms of these streams, we've been very, very consistent in terms of like dollar outlook, which sets the precedence for a lot of other things that we're trading, right? Dollar strength. And then we also look at gold and indices, and you've traded the yen pairs a lot. So great point on that regards. What would you say to someone, Ivan, who is struggling with flip-flopping, with constantly feeling like they're on the wrong side of the market and chasing what's happening, and frustrated perhaps by changing fundamentals in the short term?
Pull yourself together. It's probably the worst advice to say, but I think it comes down to facts, and I think it comes down to what do you know, and I think there is a maturing needs to happen rather quickly or at some point, but the way and the transition and the journey you have to take is stop looking at price action. Stop looking at what other people are doing. Stop looking at what Nick is doing and I'm doing and Nick and Frank is doing. What is longer term or overall, or where is the big picture? Because what normally happens is that you're too focused on the short term. If you're going to buy S&P 500 right now, why would you buy S&P 500 now? Is there any reasons? And when you start trying to find a reason, test that reason out. Were you right? Were you wrong? And when you come into, oh, I was wrong, and then you go back to flip and flopping, it's just that it is as simple and as difficult as make a choice, stand by it, and I think it's a lack of accountability and a lack of I don't really want to take accountability because it is difficult and it's hard, but that's the way you have to take it, by testing your strategy, by testing theories, by being wrong, being humble, and say to yourself, it's going to be right in the end.
Yep. No, those are great points, because again, when you guys watch our streams here, when you hear Ivan talk on something or Frank talk on something or myself, there's plenty of times where we don't even agree with each other. So when you as a listener, let's say you have a trade on the euro or a trade on gold or trade on the S&P, as Ivan is saying, it's really important that you know why you took that trade. And it doesn't really matter what other people say about your trade, as long as you versus you understand why you took that trade, having a full explanation for why. Again, there are going to be all the times where even Ivan and I or Frank and I, we disagree on a concept or challenge each other's trade. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change what we're going to do based on our own strategies and rules. The markets are not, there's not 100% correct trader anywhere, right? So no matter what, there's always going to be times where we have differing opinions or, that sort of thing. It's really important that you as a listener, if I go over something or Ivan goes over something and we disagree with what you're thinking or what you're trading, as long as you've done your homework and tested your concepts thoroughly, it should be listened to, and challenges are okay, but don't change your strategy just because you hear something that goes against it. It's very, very important not to be so flip-floppy on everything that you're doing. So hopefully that's a helpful tip to someone out there. I did also mention this earlier, but Ivan is one of our coaches inside of our Discord channel. He's one of our traders in the team. He does coaching webinars, you said now 3 times a week, which is fantastic. It kind of just, I guess, depends on scheduling and if you're feeling okay or not. You've had some weeks where you're in and out, so it happens. But I want to say, if you guys are not already in these coaching webinars, if you want the chance to actually ask your questions and have someone look over your shoulder as you're looking at stuff and get some help with it, come join the group. Ivan does coaching webinars throughout the week. We also share our trade alerts and details. And Ivan, do you also do coaching one-on-one? Tell us just for a second, just a quick overview of what a one-on-one session looks like with you.
The easiest way is just there's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of aha moments. And I think what lately has been happening is there's a lot of mind-blowing things happening where people are like, this is so much information I can't even comprehend. I've had to end meetings lately, literally, because it's just too much information, too much to handle, and you really need to digest what I'm actually telling you. So a lot of great things have been happening, a lot of transformation has been happening lately. So yeah. I love laughing.
That's good. Yeah, good. As always, you're going to get that with Ivan. If you guys are looking for one-on-one coaching, he's the guy. So with that said, guys, we're going to wrap up the show here. Ivan, thank you for coming on, as always, with some great commentary, and we will see you back on something soon.
You're welcome.
All right. Yep. And like I said, guys, Ivan, he does our coaching webinars throughout the week. We have quite the team between Frank, Ivan, and myself. We're constantly putting out stuff to try and help traders better themselves, to improve. We're sharing our trades and details. And I mentioned this earlier, but just in case you missed it, like I said, we are doing 55% off of our memberships. You can learn stuff. You can see trade alerts from Frank and myself. So again, we share our trades in detail. I think Frank put out a signal this morning, his pound NZD trade. Let's go spy on him on that. Let's go see real quick. How's pound NZD doing here on market open? We'll take a quick look. That seems like it hasn't really moved from his trade. But anyways, if you'd like to get trade alerts from us, you can see all the trades that we're sharing. And notably, whether it's Frank or myself, we both put in a tremendous amount of effort in journaling and explaining our trades. Essentially, what you're getting with the membership is you're getting access to our trade journals in real time. So you'll get a text message, or not a text message, a Discord message directly to your phone or to your computer anytime we take a trade, with explanations, breakdowns, charts, reasonings, all of that stuff. If that would be helpful to you to get those notifications, you can currently get 55% off by messaging us here on the live stream. It's 50% off usually, but if you message us with the live stream link right here, click this and message one of our support reps, you'll get 55% off any of our memberships. You could try it out for a month, see if you like it, make a decision, and stick around forever. We do have lifetimes as well. Again, this is the last chance to get our 55% off. Just click this link, click 50% off. It'll connect you with a real person on our team. Thank you guys very much for tuning in today. I hope you got something out of this live stream, and we will be back with more content for you later on. Have a great day.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you create a new trading account with ACAP, you can get tools like the EDGEFINDER completely for free. Check the link in the description for more information. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.